Well, okay, so, really what it is it's like an active imagination journey, and at the same time, it's something that kind of puts you in a bit of a trance state. So I suppose in a way, it's almost like that collie thing that I did, only, usually the full moon, the lunar aspects are woven into it somehow.
Now, is Susan the voice that was on the collie?
Susan's the voice. Yeah, she was
Okay.
quite kind and kept re-recording things that I changed, and then she changed and I gave her, because she does this type of thing all the time, the active imagination types of things. So I gave her permission to change things. She changed around the beginning just a little bit, which I think was actually good.
Now, is this the Susan that you dream about sometimes?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
it's really unfortunate she's married.
But does she have a website or something?
Yeah, I'll send you
yeah,
send you
send
the
us the
website.
link.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, while you're doing that, I'm gonna put Roy's dream in the chat here too, and here, and I would be really interested in Susan's thing because
Right.
the one thing I was saying that I really think in my own case, what they told me to do, the analysts I had before told me I needed to sleep outside and sleep under the full moon.
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah. I mean that and getting connected to your body, with the
Just see what
cranial
dreams.
sacral and stuff. Yeah.
Just
So
see
I'm
what
gonna
dreams.
now. So she's got like a number of people that do the class. So and she's on Vigaro, but she actually lives in town. We go out to, I don't know, like she took me out. She took me out to lunch for my birthday last week.
Oh, that's great. Well, yeah, that's fabulous. I'd like to know more about her. Hi, Charles. I just put Roy's dream that he just had, and also Susan yoga yoga inspired is what it's called, and it's booked now, and she does everything on Zoom. Huh?
She does that, yeah. Well, through Vigaro.
Oh,
And she's, and I also go to her for.
oh, and is she from Oregon?
Oh, well, she's in Omaha currently. I don't know where she's originally from.
Okay. Well, anyway, are you doing okay, Charles?
Yeah, I'm all right. I had today off. Been really rainy and gloomy around here the past few days.
Yeah, okay. Well, fabulous. Well, let's start with, and Gary, I want to talk to you about the meditation, but maybe do it later. Okay. Let's start. Why don't we start with the Wayne and Judy dream? I really like this one. So, Roy, why don't you read it?
Okay. Let's see. I had this on May the 8th. Adelaide and me were at Wayne and Judy's house, which they were selling to us. It was by a creek. I didn't have any furniture and I did not like the construction or anything about it. I decided I would rather be at my old childhood home, which had been totally remodeled. I went off exploring in the woods. It was a hilly area. I noticed it was very dry. It was getting late in the day and I realized I was lost and not going to make it back in the dark. My dog Poppy was with me. We came upon a sort of a youth hostel in the woods. We decided to spend the night there.
Okay, now this great. I mean, this this is a very interesting dream, and I can't wait to see how it develops. Okay, all right. So let's just start that the Anima and the dream ego are at another couple's house, someone else's house. Now, we don't really know who the other couple represent yet, but they are selling this house to Roy and a inner feminine figure. Okay, and it was by a creek, so there was the unconscious was by it, but or some kind of water of life. At least it was had some natural aspect, but it was unfurnished. It was bare. Didn't have a lot of contents in it. Okay, and the dream ego didn't like the construction, didn't like the pattern of it. The pattern didn't fit, or anything else about it. Okay, and then the dream ego says it would rather be at its childhood home, the place at the beginning, which had been totally renewed and refreshed. Okay, now that's really one dream. Okay, what follows is the same dream but stated differently. You know, okay, and we're going to have to we'll do them separately and then go back to both of them. Now, this next dream is almost the same dream, but it has a different approach to the problem that was presented in the first dream. First dream is it's something like the pattern that is being given to Roy and his inner feminine is not that there's something in it that does not have, first of all, it doesn't have any contents in it. It's empty. And secondly, there is no feeling, function aroused, no eros. It's just, it's dead and dead. And we could also call it somewhat dry. And we're going to find in the second dream, this comes up again. Okay, so now we go off exploring the woods. So now, in this case, when we go into the woods, we go into the place, and by the way, we're going in there exploring. So we are trying to find things that have hitherto been unknown to ego. So where does that mean we are? You know, the place where things hitherto that have not been unknown by ego is in the inner world, because that is the one part of our psyche with which we're completely unfamiliar. Okay, so we're there exploring. Now remember, the first one didn't have contents. Here we're looking for contents. We're looking for what we called furniture in the other dream, but we're looking for it. Now it was hilly. Okay, now James Hillman would tell us that means it contains soul, valleys, and spirit peaks. You know, so something that goes like this as the vale of tears. Vale, V-A-L-E, means valley. In Norwegian, it's dala, dale, hill and dale. You know, here you call it hill and vale. It's the place of souls, the vale of tears, the place where life, where you have left Eden and are now entering the realm of death and loss. You know, I mean, this is where every life is a continual loss. You know, and that's what it's sort of this hilly region, which is so spirit and soul is there. Now it's dry, and this is like up until this point, it's dry. So the water of life is missing there for some reason. I think Charles is unstable internet, but anyway, that's then we come to the part where it says that it was getting late in the day, and we realized the dream ego, of course, always when it's in the unconscious is disoriented, because the pattern of where the pattern of Wayne and Judy's house was just blah, we didn't like it. The pattern in the unconscious is completely unknown, and we're disoriented there, and we always get lost. So anytime in that dream where you're getting lost, you are in a place that ego is not familiar with. So now the other aspect too is it's late in the day, and we can't make it back before dark. And you know, I just so we're about to enter night, and night is a very special place. You know, this was what Jung said about night. It was from a poet he liked. "Oh, my daughter, night, the most religious of my daughters, the most pious of all my daughters, of all my creatures, you are the only one who is in my hand, the one who most completely leads. You glorify me in, more in sleep than your brother day glorifies me in work." There's just an aspect of night that has truth in it that you won't find in the day. I mean, there's a truth of the night that you know, in at night, uh, all things, fountains are louder. You know, fountains are louder, and my heart is all bubbling fountains are louder, and my heart is a bubbling fountain. That's what Nietzsche says. But there's just this aspect that when night comes by, there's a situation here that we need to find some place. If you are lost in the forest at night, that's not good necessarily. You think? Okay. Now, interestingly enough, now see, this is just a perfect complement to the first dream. I'm calling this the second dream. Okay. The instincts are with us, the dog. And so when the animals are near, the instincts are near, and when the instincts are near, the archetypal world is near. Okay, and so we come upon a youth hostel. Okay, now this is the place of the growing thing. You know, that thing within us, which is you know that is evolution is constant change, constant renewal, you know. So the youth hostel is a place of constant renewal. Even if it's 100-year-old youth hostel, it's still the place of constant renewal, you know, because the new things are always coming there and staying and residing. So that's where we're going. Now, you're in this dream, how old are you? Are you just the same age as you are now?
Well, yeah, I felt that way.
Yeah. Okay. But you're going to the place of renewal. So you and the instincts, who are lost in the unconscious, are going to the place of renewal. And we decided to spend the night there. So in other words, we're going to, and night is the place of where we find the truth, you know. I mean, it's sort of like earth, you know, where things sprout out of it, you know, because that's how we find the furniture that was missing in Wayne and Judy's house. That's how we find the contents of the unconscious, you know. So I'm just saying, contrast this section of finding a dwelling place with the first half of finding a dwelling place. In the first half of finding a dwelling place, it comes from just a conventional couple that we know, you know, and and egos can feel that its pattern does not fit the special needs of it, of that dream ego and its inner feminine half. and it's empty. There's nothing there, and we, as we're looking around at it, and deciding to buy it, we say, I know what I need. What I need is something like my childhood home, but one that has been renewed and refreshed. Okay? So then you're given the second dream. Okay? And that is, now let me just ask you this. There's no question of your buying your childhood home that's been renewed and refreshed. Is it for sale?
Somebody bought it. Somebody lives there. I don't know if they're going to resell it or what.
Yeah, but it wasn't for sale in the dream. I mean, you didn't know that it was for sale.
Oh, no, in the dream, it wasn't for sale. It was just
Yeah.
a
But you
remodeled
knew
house,
that's-
which probably the owners spent a lot of money remodeling because it was built in the 40s and it needed a lot of remodeling.
But you and the inner feminine, you, accompanied by the inner feminine, at least the inner feminine is near you, but you knew that's what you really required, was this youthful home that had been refreshed and renewed. Okay, where do you find that? You go into the forest. You go in there with the instinctual partner or companion, and you come in the forest to the place of renewal, and that is the youth hostel. This is where we need to reside with, now, not this time with Adelaide, but this time with the instinctive aspect of you, and which is sort of typical of your dreams too, I think. What do you think, Gary?
Well, that was just awesome, Craig. I love the way that you saw. It's like, and we see it, and like, I don't think I would have spotted that, but when you pointed out, this is really the same dream twice. And so in the first dream, it's like, I think to me, the childhood home, which has been completely, totally remodeled, that's like, I think that's like, that says that, the the family, the things that affect us from our family history, it's like it's been dealt with. It's been totally remodeled, we're through that now. And so, but the first dream can't really, but going into the childhood home, it can't really do anything with that. So, now you start the second one, and this one has a totally different affect where, it's hilly, it's dry. So, with it being dry, it's like you're not yet finding it, but that it gets late in the day. This is when, late in the day, this is when the magical possibilities open. And, he realizes he's lost. Well, until we until we admit that, that we don't necessarily know, that's, until we do that, we can't really release ego, and ego remains in control. But then, with the instinctual, you find the youth hostel, which is the potential for many new beginnings and ideas. And you decide to spend the night there, which is like, this is like, it's like the communication with the, with the various daemons and stuff that may be there, but it's all very mystical and magical in the second part, whereas the first part is, it's like, you realize that this dwelling that you're being pushed toward, which apparently has already been sold to you, which may, almost like maybe you were manipulated into. But no, this isn't the future. You need something else. So yeah, like I really liked your interpretation, Greg.
Well, that's very, the thing that I would just add, and let's hear what Roy has to say, is that, I just was telling you that I needed to sleep under the moon, and that's why I wanted to hear more about the moon meditation. I was wondering if you did it during the full moon. And what the thing is saying, now you said the place of new ideas, but what I'm thinking is, what we really need is what the Naskapi Cree used to say, send me more and better dreams.
Yeah.
So where do we find more and better dreams? In the place of renewal, in the deep unconscious, where ego has everything that has to do with ego now is gone, and ego is lost in that area,
Right.
and disoriented until it finds the youth hostel. Now, when it finds the youth hostel, then a organizing locus has been located in the unconscious.
Right.
So this is somewhat like the academy of this hilly forest, the place of learning, because we will learn things by sleeping there, just sleeping there. What do you think, Roy?
Oh yeah, I really like the way you interpreted it. I was having trouble trying to figure this dream out because it's very alien to me, to all this dryness, and which has been a theme in my dreams for a while. So I was a little confused, and but the way you interpret it seems very positive. Yeah, I really like it. I don't have much to add. I really like, you really sum it up good. It really feels right.
Yeah, well, I mean, the dryness is the first thing I thought is a lot of your dreams have emphasized dryness. Now, can you describe? Wasn't there an element of dryness in the where you found the fields of wheat? Remember that?
Yeah, I don't think that was a dry dream because I came back down into the vale and there was a river.
Yes.
And the river had plenty of water in it. I mean, the banks, it was up full.
But didn't it start out that your truck was driving through a dry area or something?
That's true, but I found the water pretty quick.
So that's what I'm saying is that you're going to find the water pretty quick here too.
I hope so. It makes me kind of nervous not having the water.
Well, that's exactly what I was thinking of that dream, because you're driving your truck through. How did you describe it in the dream? To me, it was like Texas or something.
You've probably driven through Texas.
Yeah.
And the Interstate 10 or whatever it is through Texas, a very dry run.
Yeah.
I mean, a whole way to California. It's so dry, and it's just the vastness of the desert, sagebrush and all that stuff.
No
it's just
furniture.
Very dry.
There's no furniture. There's no contents. So you get out of the truck. You go into this landscape, and pretty soon you find the river, and you find the new wheat. So what you found was the youth hostel, but you did it not with the conventional feminine or with the conventional couple. Now, this is nothing against any feminine aspect in your inner life, but what it seems to be now, Poppy, is that a male dog or a female dog?
That's a male dog.
Male dog, but it's still an instinctive aspect. Now, the thing with the instinctive aspect is it is, even if it is male, it's the son of the mother. It's not the son of the father, because it's of nature, you know. So now with this animal helper, you find the place of renewal, which is the childhood home. But the childhood home, the one thing about the childhood home is it a regression? You know, I mean, that's the whole thing. Now, you can't say that the youth hostel is a regression. You know, this is a place of renewal. Now, the childhood home had been refreshed and renewed, but it's still, to me, going back into my childhood home, would be crawling into a wet bathing suit, you know, basically. I mean, even though I in my nostalgic atmosphere, I know I would long for it, but to actually be there would be, you know, there would be aspects that would be painful there too, as well as, I mean, aspects in that childhood home that would bring up not the sense of the upsurging of the new. It would be a different type of beginning, you know, particularly the childhood home. You know, if let's say it's one thing to visit the childhood home, but it's another thing to say, let's buy it and live there, you know. But now we're in the prospect of buying and negotiating a home at Wayne and Judy's. So we need a new domicile. The one they're offering us is empty. Its pattern doesn't fit. And we're sort of not knowing, we're kind of lost right now. We don't know what the hell to do. But what we say is, well, what I think I'm missing here is the childhood home aspect, the place of the beginning. Now, it doesn't have to be I think that's what I'm stumbling over here. It doesn't have to be the historical childhood. It can be the home of the youthful aspect of us that has been refreshed and renewed. You know, now that's one thing, but then to go into the forest of the unconscious, of going up and down hills, exploring there too. We're not exploring over here. We're getting out deeds and contracts and checkbooks, you know, and things like that. You know, that's a wholly different exploring. Here is a different kind of exploring, of the exploring of climbing up a hill, getting to the top, and then seeing what lies in front of you after you get to that top of the hill. And then it is also combined with the fact, the night aspect. And what I think the night aspect is that the place of renewal, when we spend the night there, that's what renews us. Why do we go to sleep? What happens when we go to sleep? We refresh ourselves. We renew ourselves, okay? Our bodies, physically, you know. But we also, while we're renewing and refreshing our bodies, we're also renewing and refreshing our soul, because we're given these images which are meant, just like to the sleep regenerates us in the morning so that we can toil another day. The dreams images are meant, I think, to do the same thing with our souls, if we're awakened to them. Now, you know, one thing I really think is important as we're working with these dreams is think of how the distorted world we live in right now, you know, and what we do with the dreams in this distorted world we live in. And then imagine that you were living as our bodies were shaped, you know, in a place where the most important thing was the four seasons, the spring, the planting, the harvest, and then storing the harvest, and possibly hunting and fishing and finding, and then where there's no television, there's no electric lights, there's no all you hear are night sounds, and then in the morning you hear bird song, and now how do the dreams work there versus how they work here? They don't work any differently, except that the diseased, I mean, our ego is so captivated by all this crap. Now imagine it lived in this is completely natural aspect like this. I was just telling Gary, this analyst told me that I needed to get a pup tent, and I needed to spend a week out under the stars, and not here, but out where you can see the Milky Way, And now, why would we do that? What we're doing there is renewing and refreshing what? I mean, we are going to Bollingen. We are going to the place of where things slow down, and that we get away from Kusnacht, and we start to paint and to draw things, or to work with stone, or to do anything that does not involve this thing, and checkbooks, and debt, and newspapers and news of the day, But anyway, could you just comment on the second half of that dream? If that actually happened, it would be it's just beautiful to me. I mean, this is just what I was telling Gary. I mean, that I need really. But anyway, Gary, did you have any dreams you wanted to discuss, or I can pop one in here?
I've got a fragment.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's go at it. I don't. Fragments are good.
Let's see if I got it.
I'm gonna bring up one of mine too.
Oh,
Try
yeah,
to bring up one I didn't discuss.
Want me to read it?
Yeah, please. Mm-hmm.
So I call it The Descent. I am in a large castle. A warrior has killed one of my men. So apparently I'm the leader. Somehow, I think he cannot be defeated. So I command the rest of my men to head for the basement. As I descend, more and more of my men join me. I think that this is completely ridiculous for so many of us to be running from a single man.
Yeah, okay, this is very interesting. Okay, now we're in a large castle. So a castle is, they were originally fortifications, a castle is a fortification. It's a stone tower. It's usually surrounded by a moat. It is, has drawbridges. It has these slots in the roof where you can fire arrows out. In other words, it is some type of a structure which protects the ruling aspect within, from attack from the outer world. Okay, now we're in a large castle, and a warrior has killed one of our men. Somehow, I think he cannot be defeated. So I command the rest of my men to head for the basement. And as I descend, more and more of my men join me. I think that this is completely ridiculous for so many of us to be running from a single man. Okay. Now, okay, we are in a large castle, so we are in a place that is first of all, it's very ancient. Okay, it's not our house. It's an ancient place. They haven't had castles since, you know, probably it would have to have been in the 16th century, or I don't remember a lot of wars involving castles, even in the, well, maybe let's say the 18th century.
Yeah, I
You
think
know,
once they perfected cannons, it was
cannons,
pretty
it
much
wasn't very good.
pointless.
So yeah, you went back 300 or 400 years, you know. So once the cannons, that is really what the aspect was, that they had cannons that were big enough that could breach the stone walls. So we are in a place. It's just a very ancient place. Now it isn't a bad man that has killed one of the defenders of ego or defenders of the psyche. It is a warrior. So it is a person, some individual who is not a soldier. He is a warrior. So he's almost like a brave or a knight or some aspect. I mean, he is a noble fighting person. Okay. Now, the one of my men. So we are actually like at least a captain of some small regiment, or what would the smaller infantry units? We're the captain of a military guard, let's say, and then we think that if we stay where we are, that we're going to just be picked off one by one. So what needs to happen is we need to find a place of where we can be protected from the arrows of this very competent warrior. The ego needs to protect itself. It needs to find a more secure place for it and its aspects. So what happens? It descends into the unconscious. So it goes into the basement. It goes. Where does ego go to escape? Now let's say this. Let's just say that the dream, the ego in the outer world, is that there is something in there that is threatening it. You know, and I would guess it would be some kind of a shadow aspect, but you know, typically when something is usually like this, let me just put it this way. When something inevitable is chasing us and threatening us with death, what we really should do is to turn around and face it. Okay. And then we will find out what it really, it usually at that point, there is a absolute cathartic change. Okay. And so when we're chased by a snake, chased by a bear, someone's running after us, what we need to do is turn around and face it. So the aspect that is pursuing ego right now, okay, you know, the hounds of heaven, okay. So you know what really we're being pursued by is we're being pursued by the unconscious. So the warrior is the unconscious. Now, the warrior is the unconscious, and are running away from it. But what we're really running away from is that it is undefeatable, you know. And but the ego is weak compared to the unconscious. So for some reason, this dream is about, Gary, is about resistance. There is an aspect of you, and it's in all of us, of resistance. Okay, we're like Captain Lindenhuis. Okay, we believe in, we're curious about the spiritual, but we don't want it to infect our ordinary lives. Okay, so but it's insistent. It's very insistent. Okay. Now, the fact that it killed one of your men means that it wants to annihilate within us this resistance to wholeness. What it wants us to do is to become its true empty vessel.
I'm sorry, it's true.
Empty vessel.
Ah.
It's true empty vessel. And we're right now, you know, the word I was trying to think of yesterday was dilettante. You know, that's what Captain Lindenhuis is he's a dilettante. He's curious about things, but he's not going to let it transform him, you know. And this is, I just was facing this today, and in my active imagination today, you know, if not me, who? If not now, when? You know, the idea is, am I ever going to wholly commit to wordlessly working with these images, not for any gain, but just to have their magic unfold in front of me, and so that I can get closer to this borderline. Remember last week we were talking about the borderline concept. Who was the had the dream about Arizona and New Mexico? Was that you?
Was me. That was me.
You. Yeah. Is the only way you're going to get to that borderline concept is to now. Can you refresh our memories about that dream? Let me see if I have it here.
Yeah, I can probably pull it up. I'll post it again.
Yeah, because Tim is here. Yeah, good.
That was the one I called the cafeteria.
Yes. Okay, but this I think is what it really is saying, and is this. And now, Roy, let me sum it up. Hi, Tim. I'm sorry we didn't get. Did you have something going on yesterday? I was kept yelling at you, but I'm sorry. We always like to hear your words of wisdom. I didn't get to hear it.
I got a call that I had to take.
Yeah, I think I saw you grabbing. We're just finishing Gary's dream here. Gary, could you put it in the first dream?
Oh yeah, sure. Let's see.
I see it here.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
this
that's
is the one from last.
That's the previous one. Let me put.
I see.
And that was the one that I called the cafeteria.
Yeah.
Where, you know, I was going to get my lunches for free.
Yeah. I mean, it was just this. Now, this one here is, it's a fragment, but basically there is, again, what is really happening here is he's in a large castle. A warrior's killed one of his men. Somehow we think he can't be defeated. So he commands the rest of his men to head for the basement. And as I descend, more and more of my men join me. I think this is completely ridiculous. for so many of us to be running from a single man. Well, now this dream is very typical of us, of the hounds of heaven, you know, that the unconscious is being very insistent and we are resistant to it. Okay, so now what this is like was I was just describing, it's like Captain Lindenhuis, and that word I was trying to think of was a dilettante, you know, one who is just curious about the powerful magic of transformation, but he's not going to let it infect his actual ordinary life, you know. And so this warrior within us who's undefeatable is our unconscious that is insistent that we take it seriously. And when it says it killed one of our men, what it really is doing is it's attacking our resistance. You know, now what this warrior told me is that God is trying to stir you, me, I'm talking about me, in every possible way that I can be stirred, because I am resistant to it. I'm Captain Lindenhuis. I'm curious about it, but I'm too lazy to let it infect my outer world and transform that, you know. And I just said this just this morning, this has come up, is if not now, when? If not me, whom? You know. So anyway, Roy, I beat this to death yet or not?
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm going to call the warrior reality.
Okay, now what is reality though? I mean, the most real thing about us, I think, is our dreams. What do you think the most real thing is?
I don't know, but it breaks upon us, and we're just totally at loss. It's just stunning. I don't know how to describe reality, but I know when I have a head on with it.
Mm-hmm. Now, at this stage in our life, what is reality too? Is rather than, you know, 30 years ago. You know, I mean, at this time, I mean, how much more damage can you do? I was at a car wash, and I saw this man, you know, who looked like he was 70, very distinguished, intelligent guy, you know, and as he was done doing all the, you know, on my windshield, you know, I rolled down my window to give him a tip, and I said, you know, I tell you not to work harder, but I don't think it's going to help. And he says, oh, yeah, he says, I lost my pension, you know, so I work 12 hours a day here. And I said, well, you know, what I tell my wife is, yeah, but you know, there's good news. And she says, what? And I said, well, I'll be dead soon. You know? So you can go into this graveyard and say, you lucky bastards, you know. but the idea here is that right now, as we're reaching this stage of life, it is the reality is really, I think, and you know, I don't mean to press this on everybody, but I think dreams are a religious experience. I think confronting these images in a serious way, in a way not like Captain Lindenhuis, but like Jung or like von Franz or any of these people would use these dreams, is our little you know, encounter with our own inner religious experiences that no one else has. This is just for us. And you know, there's another word for religio. There's also one where it means careful attention and devotion to the images of the depths. giving them careful attention and devotion. That's religion, you know. So, yeah, you know, that is, there's this argument between what is the etymology of religion. Some say it means to relink ego consciousness with its source. Others says Young first believed the one first, but the second one was that it means to do what, you know, you were telling us last time, Roy, Proteus, that we grabbed Proteus and we will not release him till he gives us the answer, you know. So that's what I'm saying reality is today, you know, for me. I don't know, but I'm a dilettante. I'm not.
I can give you Freud's what Freud said about reality. Quote, I got it here, just sitting right on my desk. Illusions command themselves to us because they save us pain and allow us to enjoy pleasure instead. We must therefore accept it without complaint when they sometimes collide with a bitter reality against which they are dashed to pieces.
What?
That's
But now,
Freud.
who is Freud's redeemer? I mean, where was the redeemer in Freud? Where was the youth hostel? You know, that's what I'm.
Well, he
saying.
didn't solve the problem, and I don't think Jung did either. But Jung had some hope, and Freud was just like, well, it's just hopeless, you know, just get on with your life.
Well, he basically, what some people have said, was a very clever rearranger of the deck chairs on the Titanic, you know.
Well, he was putting in our face something that was very unpleasant and it's very hard to accept. I think that's what he's saying. And
Okay, I get what you're saying.
I see people just go to what incredible lengths to avoid that, but they haven't totally been able to avoid it.
And well, and
the warrior.
And that's the warrior. That is the warrior. And I agree exactly. We're on.
And so
you're
going to go back in the hole, man. Close the hatch, and this thing passes.
That is exactly true. But I think that the warrior also is secretly the redeemer. You know, I mean, he's secretly. Sure. We are resisting redemption. You know, and because we are Captain Lindenhus, because we're Craig Nelson. You know, I mean, we're a dilettante. We go through the motions of this, but when are we going to get serious and to give these things the careful religious devotion that it requires? Because if we don't do that, nothing will ever happen. You know?
Well, it still might not happen. There's no guarantee how much devotion you give to what you imagine is going to help you. It's going to lift one little finger. You're going to be any better off or less suffering. There's no.
Well, the gates of heaven never open. But the idea of working with these images is that we bring the two sides, the center of gravity of both start to approach each other, you know, gradually. And the idea is that pretty soon you're in the youth hostel, you're in Bollinger, you know, and that is a place where something can really happen. Nothing happens in Kusnacht, you know, other than just
when Jung says the pendulum swings from what does he say? Swings from to
enantiodromia or whatever.
No, swings from. Well, I got that quote somewhere. Go on and talk. I'll look it up. But
okay,
that's
all right.
Famous one.
Well, Tim, do you have any comments? And then maybe we'll let.
Oh, I got it. I remember now. The pendulum swings from sense to nonsense. Now, people don't seem to understand that one very well, but I researched that a lot. And what he's saying is you can't tell if something's absurd or important. That's how confusing it is. You know, in the journey to wholeness, that's how confusing it is.
Yeah, and he really, though, found that nonsense was the real
He did.
Was that
He
that
did
was
that.
the
You're right.
it was the thing that it was the rejected stone. It's the rejected son of the king. It's that aspect that everyone, you know, the treasure hard to attain is in the dung heap, you know, and that's what von Franz says, that the difference between Jungians and all other psychologists is they go looking through the dung heaps to find the treasure, you know, but everything else that every other psychology rejects, that's where they find the treasure hard to attain, you know. But anyway, I think, Gary, that this is a dream of a snake chasing us, and it's the hounds of heaven chasing us. And it's just a dream of ego resistance. What do you think?
Well, you know what, there's a couple things I find interesting, because I remember as I'm descending, more and more of my men are
Yes.
joining me. And then I'm like, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, wait, this is a single warrior. Why don't we go back and face him? I mean, this is just
Yes.
really ridiculous. But the other thing is that, where was I headed? I was descending. Into the unconscious.
Mhm.
So that would really go right along with what you're saying, you know, because that's like the, you know, the unconscious attitude of not facing it, of you know, just going into the unconscious, where you don't, you know, you just, it's like you disassociate, you know.
Well, and it really, what I'm thinking it says is that it says there's no refuge. You know, if for you to just make a descent into the basement, you're going into the place you should have went in the first place. You know, so you're running in. Every direction you run, you're running into the warrior and his
Right,
world.
right.
You know, so any direction you go. What do you think, Tim? I don't know if you wrapped your head around it.
Well, I'm still thinking about the last bit of the conversation about um, the paradox. To me, the paradox is the only way of talking about truth. And it makes me think that in this dream, the way to defeat the warrior is to go into the depths,
Mhm.
you know, because you're going to find him down there as well.
He'll be there. You're going to face him there.
Yeah.
By fleeing from him into the basement, you're gonna as soon as everybody gets down there and opens up a door, there I'll be, you know. So this now that was a beautiful, Tim, to bring that up. Isn't that don't you think that would be a wonderful finish to this dream, Gary?
Oh yeah, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I hope that's the continuation.
You get down there, you open up the door,
There he
and
is.
there he is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I also wonder if he is trying to kill you up above, but down below he's one of the men, you know, he's trying to help
Yeah.
you out down there.
He's actually is, I think, the Redeemer, but we don't, I mean, you know, the idea is whatever is chasing us, who's fleeing? It is, what is fleeing is the resistance of ego to change, okay? That's what's fleeing from this thing that's chasing us. The resistance of a self-willed ego to give up its self-willed world, you know, and to then turn around and see the only way of redeeming. And I was just telling my wife too, because, you know, we met some woman in the dog park today, and she had been in AA, and then she's left AA, and she's back to, you know, drinking again. And Amy said that it was only the when we've met desperation that we really find the cure. And I said, well, in alchemy, they call that the stone of wisdom. And you descended as far as you can go down. You can't go down any farther. So there is no escape at the stone of wisdom. You know, when you've reached that bottom, rock bottom. and there's no defenses there, and there's nothing there that can help you. That's when wisdom begins, you know. And so that kind of just makes me think of what you were just saying, Tim, or Gary, I forget which. But I mean, somebody brought it up. I don't remember. Now, Roy, I think one of the things you're talking about is the pain or facing the difficult thing. But the difficult thing, what do you think the difficult thing in the dream of the hostel is? Or, I mean, just what is a difficult thing, do you think, that you've, in your experience?
Four letters. First letter's L, I, F, no, life, L-I-V-E.
Being alive, yeah.
Life, not being alive, life, L-I-V-E, life, live life, L-I-F, what is it? How do you spell life? L-I-F-E, L-I-F-E, life. You know, life just goes on. You die, it goes on. It's just like a river, a powerful river. It just annihilates everybody. You can't figure out what it is. You can't keep up with it. You just get pitched every which way. You know, life. You know, that's what it is. That's what's so difficult.
Well, just a person who has a terminal illness, okay, let's say, and they know that they're going to be dead in 6 months. And so what do they do then? You do what you should have done all along. You live in this moment. You smell, smells become sweeter, sights become more beautiful, you know, everything. I mean, in other words, there's nothing to hold on to anymore. You know, at that point, our grasping stops. When we've, you're going to be dead in a month. You got 3 weeks, you know. Now what are you going to do, you know, at that point? I mean, you're going to experience the sweetness of being alive, you know. I mean, if you really have went through the 7 stages of grief that Elizabeth Kubler-Ross talks about, you know. I mean, where you denial and all the other stuff. And after you went through all that crap, and now you've accepted the fact that this is it. She just tells these beautiful. They're very much like Halshed's stories of these people who, once you have accepted it, then you experience life in an intense way that you have never experienced it before. You know.
That's why death is the greatest teacher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. The one thing I would say is, this is another little lesson from AA is, and it's not just a lesson from AA, but if you live in the past, you live in regrets and resentment. And if you live in the future, you live in anxiety. But if you live in the present, you live in nature. You live in the Tao. You live in this eternal now. This eternal now. And what do you need this or that for? You don't need it. And that it is absolutely liberating. You've liberated yourself from the past. You've liberated yourself from the future, you know. And that really is this place of, I've given up everything. I don't need anything. I give up all my possessions. I don't care. I just want to experience being alive right now, you know. But anyway.
That's not how we are, though. We're running from the warrior. We're
Yes,
worried about we're lost in the woods.
Yes.
And what's going to happen? You know, that's what we really are.
Yeah, it is. I think the one aspect, though, that is also involved here, and then I'm going to shut up. And Tim, if you have a dream, you have a dream? Yeah, why don't you put it in?
Sure.
Yeah, why don't you put it in? But there is also an obligation and responsibility, well, at least while we're here, is that there is the other half, this other half. We've been developing the outer half our whole lives. You know, the inner half wants us to come near it, you know, and see it and develop it, and to forget about developing this. This is what John the Baptist said about Christ. I must become lesser, and he must become greater. You know, he wasn't talking about Jesus and himself. He was talking about his ego and the inner, his inner half. You know, anyway. Well, did you have do you have any final comments, Gary? About
No, that really helped. I was quite puzzled, but it makes a lot more sense now.
Okay. Well, anyway, and I agree with everything you're saying too, Roy. And I like I don't think anyone expresses it like you do, Roy. Seriously, I mean it is a wisdom that I've never heard before, but is very true. Has a ton of truth in it, and your dreams tell us about it too. Hi, Charles. I'm sorry you were off a bit. Tim, did you have a dream, or I haven't seen it yet, but you want to send it to me, or?
Well, I'm trying to paste it in. For some reason,
just email it to me if you
okay.
Can. And I think Roy, you had that problem too.
I don't know how to paste it in.
Yeah.
It doesn't like text. I have an Apple. It doesn't like text.
Okay.
Get text.
Yeah, well, we're getting it. How you doing, Charles? Yeah, you had a little problem with your...
So Charles, did you say that it had been gloomy there, or that you had been gloomy?
I don't know if his internet's working that great. Let's see. Let me look at my email.
Boy, his pictures sure look good.
Yes, I know. Those were beautiful. Okay, here it is. Tim, I just got his dream. Okay, here we go. Yeah, we need some Charles dreams, Charles. If you have some dreams, Charles, that you want to discuss this week, go ahead and send them to me.
Yeah, we want dreams from while you're there.
Yes, definitely. Okay, I'm going to put this in the chat here. All right, I don't think I got the whole thing.
Holy Toledo, long one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is kind of
At least
long.
let's get it started on it. But let me see if I can get this. Why don't you start on it, and I'm going to find out where we left off.
All right. It's called The Unfinished Race. I'm with my sister witnessing part of a women's ultra marathon event at the outside of town. We're by a canal and watching women one by one coming down the canal, swimming, and entering a boat, which then turns a corner and then shoots them into a kind of pipe. And then they swim through the pipe to the end of the race. We see one woman come down.
I'm sorry, I threw you off.
And enter the boat, but then she's too tired or something is wrong and she can't move anymore. I'm standing on a concrete edge when a face mask flies past me. I chase it, but the wind keeps blowing it beyond my reach. I end up in Bozeman at a hotel where there's a convention of some kind going on. I'm wandering around inside through empty halls. Though the activity is somewhere else, maybe. Let's see. Yeah, there's activity somewhere, but it's not around me. I enter one room and see a sleeping figure in a bed. Continuing down the open hall, I open another door to the convention hall. Inside, a man and a woman are collecting detritus at the end of an event. I walk away with a box of items, suddenly realize what I'm doing, and return to put the things back, I don't know how I'm going to get home.
Yeah.
And I wonder if I can ask the hotel for anyone from Helena who might be driving back. But of course, they wouldn't give that information. But the front desk is simply a kiosk with no human beings.
Jeez.
It's like a computer terminal or something. I think I may as well get a room, but then I remembered that Nancy lives in town. I tried to dial her number, but I can't make my fingers spell her name on the phone. A woman is watching over my shoulder. I'm very confused how I got myself here.
And now this is an absolutely wonderful dream, Tim. I really do. I'm saying this. I'm going to go through it as quick as I can, and then give Gary and Roy and Charles a chance at it. But I think we're going to have to finish it, and I'm going to have to study it. But I know this is a very important dream. Okay, and
I can't make any sense of it.
Well, we will make sense of it. You watch. Not maybe tonight, but let's give it a try. Okay, now, first of all, it's called I can just sense it. Let me just say that. There's something here that's very important. The unfinished race. So a race starts and there's no finish to it. That's a good, that you could stop it right there almost. Okay, now, you're with your sister. So this is a feminine aspect that's related to the family and the mother, but you're witnessing a part of a woman's ultra marathon event on the outside of town. Okay, now this is a wonderful follow-up on all the anima dreams. A woman's ultra marathon event. Now, we're by a canal. Again, this is the channelized unconscious that's been worked into straight places by consciousness, but it contains the unconsciousness. We're by a canal and watching women one by one coming down the canal and entering a boat which turns a corner and then shoots them into a kind of pipe which ends up at the end of the race. Okay, pretty interesting right there. I mean, there's some idea of this is just an idea, I think, of the flow of the feminine in our psyche. You know, let's keep going with this, but let's not concretize it too much, because I think this is very metaphorical. We see one woman come down and enter the boat, but then she's too tired or something to move anymore. Okay, I'm standing on the concrete edge when a face mask flies past me. I chase it, but the wind keeps blowing it beyond my reach. Okay, face mask. So now a face mask would be something we wear in the unconscious, in the water, so that the upper world can navigate better in the lower world. There's some idea of it is a tool that ego has made, or through its many years of experience in the unconscious, it has a way of making it easier to navigate the unconscious. Somehow we end up in Bozeman at a hotel where there's a convention of some kind going on. Okay, so now that is the first part of the dream. Okay, that is something we're going to have to consider independently. And I'm telling you that the general pattern is from this, that. So that first part of the dream, we're moving on to the second part here. That first part of the dream is really the key to solving the second part that we're looking at now. We're ended up in Bozeman at a hotel where there's a convention of some kind going on. I'm wandering around inside through empty halls, though there is activity somewhere. I enter one room and I see a sleeping figure in a bed. Continuing down the hall, I open another door to the convention hall. Inside, a man and woman are collecting. Is that that is just the sort of the what was left over after the convention? Yeah,
Right.
yeah. At the end of the event, Okay, I walk away with a box of items that people abandoned and suddenly realize what I'm doing and return to put the plugs back. Now, what are the plugs? Is that
I think that's a typo.
okay?
Put the stuff back or
Put the
whatever it
stuff
was.
back. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know how I'm going to get home. So anyway, we went into this place and we're trying to collect the things that that this first man and woman were collecting. We're in Bozeman at a hotel where there's a convention going on, and we're wandering through empty halls. First, we see a sleeping figure in a bed, and then we go to another door, and there is a man and woman collecting the stuff that was abandoned. We get some, but then we're going to put the stuff back. Okay, that's a second part of the dream. Okay, now the third part of the dream is I don't know how I'm going to get home, and I wonder if I can ask the hotel for anyone from Helena who might be driving back. Bozeman is that's about a 4-hour drive from Helena, isn't it?
2 hours.
2 hours? Okay.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
I think that's where the end of the race was, or at least
Yeah.
that's my.
Okay. Well, anyway, these see, this is going to be 3 independent dreams, but they're all going to be linked. Okay, you watch when we're going to get done. So now, we you know, we had this first. The ultra marathon event was where? Do you know where it was?
My sense is it's in my town, so
It's in Helena.
yeah.
But then somehow we ended up 2 hours later at some kind of a collective event where we're just collecting the refuse of a collective event. And we realized that, you know, it just has some comment about the some emptiness of a collective event. And then the third is from this, there is, we seem to be at this collective event, which we missed, and which there's nothing left but what was abandoned. And now, how do we get back to Helena, where the race may have ended up? Okay, that's why we got into Bozeman. Okay, I get it. We are in the race ended in Bozeman, but the part about how let's read it again. One, you're they turn a corner and then it shoots them in a kind of a pipe which ends up at the end of a race. So they're being shot down south to Bozeman, right? Possibly, you don't know.
Yep. That's what
Yeah.
it feels like.
Okay, so then we end up in Bozeman, but the women aren't there at this point. Everything's over. So it really seems that the convention means that we missed the end of the race. We're kind of at the end of the race and everybody's already went home. So we kind of missed the end of the race. We'll have to talk more about that. But then you don't know how we're going to get home. And we wonder if we can ask the hotel, we can drive back with somebody from Helena, and you know they wouldn't give that information. And beside the front desk, there's no human relatedness there. And you think you might as well get a room, but then you remembered Nancy lives in town. You try to dial her number. This has absolutely happened to me. But you can't make your fingers work. You know, there was a fire one time, and everybody outside my window is telling me, call the fire department. And I sit there and I can't call them. Okay, so now this is a I think that let me just sum it up real quick. There is an event going on that involves the feminine going into the unconscious, and they're going to come up somewhere, but we don't know where. Okay, and so the feminine have a vital role. It's an ultra marathon. They are going to do something which requires great ability. So these are the highest form of the feminine as far as their abilities to the highest form of Olympic athlete of the feminine world, and that what is involved though is seems what they are. The marathon is that they are the most powerful figures in the unconscious. Okay, these are beings of the unconscious who are being shot in the pipe. They're going in to the unconscious. They're going into our depths, and they get lost there. At least ego. We have a dog. Amy hates me to tell this story because she says it's not true anymore. But it would start chasing a squirrel, and when it would run up the tree, it goes, "Where did it go? It can't find it anywhere," and it just went up the tree. It just disappeared. But so there's just this very vitally, and this is the intensity of the feminine world here is just nothing like I've ever seen in any of your other dreams. But there's an idea of that is. It is energizing the depths. Okay, it's being put in a pipe and shot somewhere, and that and then all we are left with is sort of a flimsy face mask, which just flies past us, and we start chasing our only relationship with the unconscious. We don't get to go in the pipe and get shot out somewhere that ends up at the end of the race. We're chasing around a face mask that keeps blowing beyond our reach, and so that's how the first part is left. The second part is we're at the end of the race, the unfinished race. Well, the race is unfinished for us, We get to the place, the south, so we've descended on the map at least, to a place where the women are. And we've missed the boat somehow. I mean, at least Dream Ego is down there, and there's nothing there. There's nothing there in the first part, and there's nothing there in the second part. But we know there's something absolutely amazing somewhere. Now, this has happened. Do you see the fact that there's something absolutely amazing somewhere in the House of Four Women? There's something absolutely amazing somewhere in the theater where what's that woman's beautiful name?
Elisa?
Yeah, Alyssa. There's something amazing in the theater of Alyssa, and there's something amazing about the girl that goes up to see the Spiritus Rector, But in each case, where did Dream Ego get left? In the parking lot, turned back, and sitting in the living room. Now, in this case, is there a more amazing description of the feminine than what we read in that first part? And then the two second parts are very similar to the House of Four Women and a couple of the other dreams. Anyway, let's all sum it up. I'm sorry I took too much time. Gary, do you have any thoughts?
Well, so the face mask, was that a swimming mask or was that like a COVID breathing mask?
COVID mask.
Oh,
okay. And I guess, can you tell us, did you have like emotions during like the, like when you're watching them go one by one down the canal? I mean, what was the overall affect of the three parts of the dream, or were you more of an impartial observer?
It seems like I was impartial in the beginning part, but at the end, it's just total confusion. I don't know what the heck I'm doing here. I don't know what I'm after. I just seem to be in the wrong place, and nothing is meshing.
So, yeah, I mean, because it seems like a cascade. I mean, we're at this event, which is you know, a pretty incredible event. You know, the female aspect is doing an ultra marathon, but then we lose one of them. You know, we lose one of the female athletes, and she is not able to shoot through the pipe. She is like unable to move now, and with that loss, um, you know, now suddenly this thing which allows us to breathe safely is flying past us, and we're chasing it, and we end up in a different place, both physically and mentally. So there's a convention there, but what we find is not the type of thing which would invigorate us, but the leftovers. And not only do we find the leftovers, but we get confused by them. We think that, you know, that maybe these should be collected or something. And then we realize, oh my gosh, this is of no interest at all. And what I need to do is I need to get back to the start, to where I began, you know. So it's like this continual degradation. You know, you go from the ultra marathon of the feminine aspect to the failure of one of the feminine, to, you know, losing something what allows us to maybe breathe safely, or maybe is just a distraction. You're following something which is, you know, I mean, really, those face masks are worth nothing. You know, you're following
Yeah,
something
what does
which
it
is
mean to
worth nothing.
chase a face mask nowadays? I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah, like,
when was
who
this? Was
cares?
it recently?
Yeah,
Or-
a couple days ago.
Yeah. And so it's like, you know, it's like initially you're on to something just amazing, you know, to witness this, you know, especially if this is from the unconscious. But then it's like, you know, it's just like a dream, you know, where suddenly these distractions come by and you get caught up in the distractions. The distractions have you chasing things to the wrong place. And then when you get in the wrong place, you know, you look for the wrong things. And then it finally dawns on you, oh my gosh, I need to get back to the beginning.
Yeah. What? Yeah.
That's kind of my take.
Yeah, Roy. What? Maybe you can sum up. But Tim, you know, we are going to have to, we're going to have to amplify the first part of the dream very carefully. What do you think, Roy?
Yeah, this is very difficult for me, but it looks like he's trying to channel feminine energy, but you can't do that. So the whole dream starts off on the wrong foot and just keeps going downhill. I mean, it's just something he doesn't get, like you said. Something amazing's happening, but he doesn't get it, and it just keeps deteriorating. The
That
animus
is
not
beautiful.
connecting.
That kind of brings up too, don't you think, Tim, the crazy woman dream, you know, of channeling feminine energy. I think there was another dream too, so we need to go through this very carefully. You know, I'm going to try to do it as we're, Charles, are you there? Can you hear us? I don't think Charles can hear us. Tim, why don't you kind of sum it up? But I'm just saying that.
Here,
go
I
ahead,
just
Charles.
oh no, sorry. It takes me many different clicking on things to actually be able to access the mic.
Okay,
But
sorry.
no, it's okay. I don't have a whole lot to say on it other than, and what Roy said is, yeah, I mean, genius, honestly.
Yeah, channeling the feminine energy.
Right, which in a way, yeah, you can't do. It's like its own, I don't know, it's connected to through passivity. Channeling is active. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I'd say other than that. It just seems like it is kind of like the same image reiterated in like 3 forms also on this dream.
Yeah, and it's much more subtle than the crazy woman dream. But do you see what do you think? Tell us what you think, Tim. But I'm saying I want to go through this very carefully because it is almost, it has elements of about 5 or 6 dreams. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, just listening to you guys talk, it makes me realize that the place where the boat is like a transition point. These women come into it, and then it pivots, and then it shoots the
Yeah.
person into the tube this way. So it's also the pivot point between the upper canal and the sunken canal.
Yes.
And it feels to me like the latter part of the dream, I'm ending up at the destination, but I didn't participate in anything, and so that's why it doesn't work. It seems like in the first part, I'm lined up. I could participate, or I could understand it, or I could help out in some way. But then after that pivot point, I'm just totally lost, and I'm
Yeah.
beyond my expertise and my ability to do anything.
Well, the very last image is almost a little bit is, you know, and I like when Roy says, what is the startling aspect, is the lack of eros and relatedness at the hotel. That there's just a kiosk there. That's very important, I think. Why would there be only a machine there? I mean, it's saying something about the eros and the feeling punch, you know. But anyway, let's now, Charles, I would like you to send us some dreams. But Tim, if you're here Wednesday or the very next time you're here, we will immediately drop everything and go to this dream because you're very busy, you know. But I'm gonna be prepared to start to do your dream anytime that it's good for you.
Okay, great.
Yeah. And because this is a very important dream, and I think it is pulling together a lot of stuff. And Charles, did you want to say anything about how things are going with you before we leave? After you push your million things?
Doing all right. Like I said, it's been really rainy here for like 3 days, which in a way has been kind of good because the restaurant, they just increased capacity by like 300 people, but it's all outdoor seating. So I will kind of have days off, so to speak, out of the weather. It decreases our capacity at the restaurant like significantly.
Okay.
But everything's been going okay. There's just a lot of overtime, like 30 hours overtime. So it's very tiring, and but it's like extremely ego hardening, and I can like feel the connection to the unconscious just dwindling.
Yes.
And I don't know, that's just the nature of the experience. I
think-
treat it like a game show. Whoever can endure 6 months of torture will get to go home with, you know, I calculated at the end of the season I should get about 15,000, which for
Oh my
me
God.
is, you know, pretty significant.
Let's just, yeah, that's going to be fabulous. But the ego hardening, that's a wonderful way to work. Because I was going to say that even before you said ego hardening, just developing these habits is going to be absolutely priceless for you, I think. That you're going to be know how it is to have to be there and show up. But anyway, we'll try to finish this Wednesday. And Tim, if you're here, we'll start on it. But anytime you do come in, we'll just jump right into your dream.
Okay.
So, and Gary, thanks for your dream. And Roy, again, that was a genius thing. And Roy's dream. I don't know if everybody got to hear it, but I'll put it on the YouTube so we can hear the dream about there was 2 ways of buying a house. And I think it was beautiful. So anyway, we'll see you guys all on Wednesday.
All right,
Okay.
thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.
See y'all later. Bye-bye.